Hello and welcome to A Bettor Morning, presented by Rival Fantasy. I'm Heather Klein. Rival Fantasy is the all-in-one fantasy sports platform. Let's welcome today's panel. Fantasy Alarm lead NFL analyst and host of Fantasy Fiasco, Andrew Coop Cooper. Award-winning host, the Fantasy Exec, Corey Parson. Senior Managing Editor of Fantasy Alarm and host of the Quick Out Fantasy Football Show and Fantasy Alarm DFS shows, Jon Impemba. Welcome, guys.
How we doing?
What's the deal, everybody? Glad to be here on this beautiful Tuesday morning as we get deeper into the month of August.
Yeah, beautiful day, man. Hey, I gotta say real quick, your Commanders, dude. You might be turning over in Sam Howell. I might be coming on the Sam Howell wagon, Corey. I don't know.
I told you sharp money was hitting Washington in that game.
Interesting. It's getting interesting. I don't know. I might have to. I don't know. I'm pretty pot committed to being off Sam Howell on Twitter, but on this show, I'm kind of on.
Listen, I just answered a question in our chat there, Coop, about Sam Howell. Again, yeah. I think that he's a wait and stash. If you want to take him at the end of your draft, like go for it. He's not costing you anything. He's not your QB1 in fantasy football this year, so it doesn't hurt to you like to play the lottery ticket scratch ticket game. Could do that with Sam Howell, but that Commander's schedule this year is a little brutal. So
let's pocket this discussion for a few minutes.
Okay.
I was about to say we should probably switch topics for the first, but let's move on. A month ago, Colts running back Jonathan Taylor requested to be traded, and owner Jim Irsay responded to the media stating that it wasn't going to happen. Now here we are with an Indianapolis giving him permission to seek a trade. Corey, where would you like to see Jonathan Taylor playing this season?
All right, this is where we bring it full circle and we all come back around, because I think the team that needs to make the move for Jonathan Taylor, the Washington Commanders. Yeah. When they was going for Dalvin Cook, I was like, a team that should be on the Cook is the Commanders, because of the fact that, listen, their offensive line is still kind of shaky. They do have guys they like at running back, but I think an elite running back can turn the Commanders into a playoff team. We just had everybody talking about Sam Howell. Obviously, McLaurin getting that injury last night. You want to see what happens with him, but we like Dotson. I think a playmaker like Taylor in the running back position is somebody that can bring all the pieces together. So I think the Commanders should be in on Jonathan Taylor. That's a team, even though they're being in the division with the Dallas Cowboys, that's a team that I would like to see.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick a team here, I go to the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills here, they have guys like Damian Harris and Latavius Murray in on short money to sort of be that power back. They have James Cook there, who many people are looking to kind of take over there. But, that offense, I think, would be much better off with a guy like Jonathan Taylor that can carry some of that workload off the shoulders of Josh Allen, especially when they get in the red zone, and be that guy that can punch the ball into the end zone instead of having Allen risk himself there. So you get a ground and pound type running back that also has the ability to catch the football and really give that Buffalo Bills offense a legitimate threat in the backfield, something that feels like they've been searching now for since Shady McCoy left. I mean, how long has it been since they had a legitimate running back in Buffalo?
Yeah, probably Thurman Thomas. The things we got to think about a trade like this is the DeAndre Hopkins trade. It wasn't just DeAndre Hopkins for a second round pick. It was DeAndre Hopkins for a second round pick and the right to make DeAndre Hopkins the highest paid wide receiver. He wasn't going to play. So we got to figure out how serious Jonathan Taylor is about not playing. If I could pick one dream spot for Taylor to go, though, I would pick the Minnesota Vikings. And that's just a team to me that most people look at that team, even though they won like 14 games last year, and they think they're unserious about winning this whole thing. That would be a serious move at a position of need. And then we turn around and say, hey, you know what? Kirk Cousins is pretty good. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, and now Jonathan Taylor. That team would be looking pretty solid all of a sudden.
And Kirk Cousins will still be the quarterback,
and Kirk Cousins would unfortunately that would actually be good for Taylor though, because Cousins has no interest in running the ball. Zero interest in that, which is distribution helps everybody.
Distributor. That's a good term. that I recently heard used for Dak Prescott. I'm gonna start using that, a ball distributor.
He distributes the ball to the defense too many times.
Yeah, exactly. Hey,
Better Boss is saying the Chiefs would be the good landing spot. I mean, I think
the Chiefs is a good landing spot for everybody.
Everybody.
Everybody do good in that offense. John, here's the thing: he ended up in Buffalo. They're really gonna kill my James Cook. You know what I'm saying? So let's tone that down. Let's not do that.
I'm with you on liking James Cook this year. I'm just thinking like landing spot, he'd be a fit for that team.
They don't get the moolah, man. And I was looking at it before this because I'm trying to figure it out. The Commanders have about 12 million cap space, which gets it done. The Vikings have 10 million, but Bills have about 6. So they would need to do some finagling or convince him to just play on a 1-year deal. But that's the thing is that are teams willing to give up a first-round pick for a 1-year rental? I mean, the Bills might be the team that would be willing to do that.
You can do that. You can say, listen, let's do a handshake agreement, 1-year deal. We'll come back and sign you. But then you'll be in China calling the general manager a liar.
The old
Daryl Morey, James Harden trick.
It is impressive their ability to pretend like there wasn't sort of wink nod agreement.
Oh yeah, exactly. Now all of a sudden, now mind you, he went to China and called him a liar. When the NBA starts investigating, what are you talking about? That's my BFF.
That happened to a team recently. Didn't somebody lose a first-round pick over that, or a bunch of picks?
I think it was I think it was Philadelphia
in basketball.
PJ Tucker,
somebody did lose a bunch of picks over tampering. So yeah, that'll be interesting. Under the table, we're gonna see.
Heather?
Yes. Hi, guys.
Hey, how you doing?
Well, maybe we got to do some like under the table wink nod stuff for Heather to make sure.
Sorry, my apologies. Baltimore Ravens rookie wide receiver Zay Flowers had quite a showing last night against the Commanders. In his brief performance in his first NFL preseason game, Flowers went 2 for 37 and a touchdown. He is currently a wide receiver 46 in PPR leagues. Do you think with the success he had yesterday that his stock is rising? And what are your expectations for him in Baltimore? John, you're up first.
Listen, it's hard not to be high on him. I think just kind of given the upside that he can bring to that offense, and we're sort of excited by the prospects of this Ravens offense, throwing the football a little bit more. What I like more about the Baltimore pass catchers really is where they are going in drafts. I mean, obviously Mark Andrews is going early, but the actual wide receivers where you have Flowers, where you have OBJ, and you have Bateman, they're basically being drafted as like wide receiver 3s, wide receiver 4s, depending on your league format here, which presents great value. So you can take an investment in those guys and not have to rely on them to, put you over the top. And then if they go on and have breakout seasons, then there's that obvious upside that you're getting. So I was big on Zay Flowers to begin with, and I liked it even more after last night.
Yeah, I'll tell you, people need to pay attention to the preseason, but not so much to, one catch in the flats where he takes it in the end zone. That's not what matters here. We already know these guys can scoot around. What we need to know is who's going to line up where. And the first game of the season, the Eagles game versus the Ravens, is the one where I was more sold on Zay Flowers because he played 4 snaps in the slot, but 6 out wide. With these guys, the concern is always that they're just going to be slot guys like Tyler Boyd and Odell Beckham and Rashad Bateman are going to be the full-time outside guys. Now, we haven't seen those other players yet, so we don't know. But at least we've seen that this guy, they're willing to move him around, have him outside, have him inside. That alone has me interested enough to take stabs on him in drafts. Because if he can be a full-time player, he might have a leg up on all the other first-round rookie wide receivers. JSN, Addison, Quentin Johnston, they don't have roles like that.
Yeah, this is interesting. I feel a couple of ways about this because I always wonder why Baltimore gets those kind of receivers like Deshaun Jackson, Zay Flowers, Bateman, guys that roam the outside when Lamar Jackson has shown time and time again he prefers to throw the football to the inside of the field. That's why Mark Andrews is so successful with Lamar Jackson. That's why Christian McCaffrey should have been a no-doubter when he was available via trade last year to this franchise. Lamar likes to control the middle of the field. With that being said, Flowers is very intriguing. You know what I'm saying? Because I think he's a guy that can work that middle of the field as well and do it with some speed. And obviously the offense is changing. Now, is Lamar going to utilize these guys in the regular season, or is it just going to be Andrews? So I'd be careful how high I bring Flowers up, but I would really feel good about Andrews because of the more passing that's going to be done in this offense.
Yeah. What I liked about the Flowers touchdown last night was that it was a throw really kind of out. It was like a little flat pass to him, and then he used his own ability to, create space, make guys miss, and take it to the house. So, like you mentioned, Deshaun Jackson, a guy that just sort of a burner down the field, runs these posts. He showed some, route running ability there to get open in space, then make a play after the catch, which is what you obviously want to see. We talk about Tua a lot and how great of a quarterback he was last year for fantasy because he has Waddle and Hill that he can throw the ball 6 yards to and let them run the 70. It feels like Flowers made that play happen last night and could be a thing to come for that offense where they can just get the ball to him in space. He has that speed to make guys miss. It could be an interesting spot for some big plays out of them.
Yeah, and I'll say this, I think that's part of why they got rid of Marquise Brown, Corey, is that they got tired of seeing him open downfield, and then when he does get it, not catch it, or Lamar just not throwing it to him. It was an asset that they knew they were going to have to pay big money to, and they just had to cash out because they weren't going to do it because they realized he didn't fit the mold. I will say this about the game last night, man. These backup tight ends for both teams, Cole Turner might even be the starter, but the Ravens, man, with Charlie Kohler and Isaiah Likely, I just wish they would trade somebody to like the Dolphins or maybe your Cowboys or something because I feel like they're hoarding these guys on.
Just to get them to play, yeah.
Yeah, let Isaiah Likely, free Isaiah Likely.
Isaiah Likely he looks like a player, Isaiah Likely.
Charlie Kohler looked great last night too, though. Like these guys, they got some ballers over there, man. Buried on the depth chart.
No Eli Wolf.
Rest in peace.
We're here to get you ready for your fantasy football draft. Start a free 7-day trial of Fantasy Alarm's All-Pro subscription and get the Fantasy Football Draft Guide and cheat sheet free. Go to fantasyalarm.com/draft. We continue our fantasy football draft strategy and advice. There are 13 new play callers this season in the NFL. Outside of the quarterback, the play caller is extremely important to a team and can affect your fantasy football team. Which play caller are you expecting to improve their new team, and which organization that could be hurt by theirs? Coop, who do you have today?
Yeah, so definitely go check out the Fantasy Alarm Draft Guide. As you just mentioned, Howard Bender does a full write-up on all the changes that we see for these teams in for every division. He does a write-up on who's in, who's out, what's changing, what scheme has changed. So definitely check that out. The first one for me, Frank Reich. I love the fit for him with Miles Sanders. In fact, Scott Fitterer, as Corey pointed out, already went to Miles Sanders, said, we're excited for you to catch 50 balls. It's all about screens. Nick Sirianni refused to throw running back screens, whereas Doug Peterson and now Frank Reich love doing it. Frank Reich threw almost 40 screens to Nyheim Hines and Jonathan Taylor last time they were healthy. The one that I think is going to be a negative, and maybe Corey can compound on this, is I think that Schottenheimer with the Cowboys, they don't want to throw. Mike McCarthy already said they want to run the ball a lot more. I don't think that's going to be great for the fantasy assets there. Maybe the team as a whole if they can rest the defense, but I don't think it's going to help them put up a lot more numbers.
Yeah, this is a good topic right here. It's a different way to look at it. A head coach is not an independent contractor. He's a head coach. That's why a couple of weeks ago when Ron Rivera came to the thing and he said, oh, the guys came to me and they said that Eric Bieniemy was being mean. You the coach. Why didn't you see that? You're supposed to fix that. You know what I'm saying? And now the head coach is the head coach. His job is to win the game. The play caller's job is to get first downs. That's where things get convoluted. And that's why I like Mike McCarthy as a play caller in Dallas, because he understands the strength of his team is his defense and possessing the football. And how can he do that? Running behind those Hall of Famers you have on the offensive line, keeping Dak Prescott out of trouble, keeping the defense off the field, getting them fresh, much better than what Kellen Moore was to do. The Cowboys will run this season like how they played them 5 games with Cooper Rush. That's how they're going to look this season, and I think that's a better fit now. And I'll tell you why that works fantasy when we come back to full screen. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll do a little bit of a homer play here, but hard not to look at Bill O'Brien going into New England. I mean, we saw the disaster of a Patriots offense last year when it was Matt Patricia and Joe Judge, 2 guys that have no no skill when it comes to calling an offensive game, and the frustration we saw out of Mac Jones and really the Patriots offense as a whole. After Jones and that offense looked decent when he was a rookie under Josh McDaniels, now you're getting Bill O'Brien back, a guy that is very familiar with that sort of style of play calling, has the experience, and there's been a lot of reports that Mac Jones is looking a lot more comfortable in camp and some of these, scrimmages that they're having. So if Bill O'Brien can come into New England and make an impact there, then I think that there's a chance for that offense to become a bit more fantasy relevant outside of just the running back game. You could see some of those wide receivers, maybe even tight end, pop up there. When it comes to negatives, though, now this isn't a new coach. I know I'm varying a little bit here, but doing the research that I've done for some of these quarterback articles I've been writing over at Fantasy Alarm, everybody seems to be out on Matt Canada. It seems like he's already on the hot seat there in Pittsburgh. So it'll be interesting to see how long he lasts as the offensive coordinator in Pittsburgh if things get off to another slow and boring start there for the Steelers.
Yeah, so when DeMarco Murray led the league in attempts and rushing, Tony Romo, Dez Bryant, and Jason Witten all were finished as ones in their position. And I think that can still happen with a heavy running attack, because I think what happens is the offense becomes more efficient. So the passes, Tony Romo threw 35 touchdowns that season with DeMarco Murray winning Offensive Player of the Year. So it can't happen. And you just got to be very efficient with the football, which is don't efficient with the guys with your uniform on.
And it depends on pace too. Like some quarterbacks really just slow the game down. Like Aaron Rodgers takes his sweet time. He's looking for guys going off sides, trying to do his little, free play nonsense. So, with the Cowboys offense that year, the pace was insane. So as long as the pace is up, then we're fine.
Yeah, I'm a little. Benner's been getting in my ear a lot about Austin Eckler and Kellen Moore and how he's going to be a negative for Eckler and the passing offense because they don't utilize Eckler as much in the passing game. So, I'm very curious to see how that plays out because Eckler's going off the board.
He's dropping. He's starting to drop. I've seen him go as late as 10, 11 in some weekend in some drafts. That's
where he started. He started at the end of the first round, and then he moved all the way back up, and now he's starting to fall all the way back down. I think as people are maybe starting to refocus on some fantasy football here and reading everything that's out there and all the negative.
Maybe that's what it is.
And negative reporting on him. Though.
But the thing that is really Cooper Kupp sitting on the turn in some of these drafts. And Cooper Kupp, before he got hurt last year, he was averaging 22 fantasy points a game. If Cooper Kupp plays 17 games, he's probably going to be wide receiver one.
Yeah. As long as it's Matt Stafford, not Stetson Bennett throwing.
Hey, I like Bennett. Bennett will play at least 5 games this year.
I don't like that for Cooper Kupp.
Why are you drafting Cooper Kupp?
You guys don't think Stetson Bennett can play?
No.
I don't know if he can be. Well, put it this way: there's a difference between being able to play and having the wide receiver one in all of fantasy football.
Interesting. I think Bennett will be all right, but I
think he might be all right.
I understand those concerns.
Can he? Are they going to lean on him like that?
Rival Fantasy is the all-in-one fantasy sports platform. Play challenges, fantasy book, fantasy bingo, plus season-long fantasy football. New users who sign up at Rival Fantasy get up to a $200 deposit match and a complimentary first play voucher. Go to joinrival.com/alarm. Today, we're going to show you how to play the challenges game where 2 players go head-to-head and you choose which guy will score more fantasy points. John, let's see who your MLB DFS picks are today with Rival Fantasy.
If you want to put it up on the screen here, again, challenges, they bring you 2 players. You decide who's going to have more fantasy points. First challenges matchup that they're giving us here. They're giving us Grayson Rodriguez going up against the Toronto Blue Jays, facing Drew Smyly going up against the Detroit Tigers here. My initial lean would be to go Grayson Rodriguez. Drew Smyly has been struggling this year, where the Tigers offense is really starting to heat it up. Spencer Torkelson is really starting to break out for them. Riley Green and Kerry Carpenter coming around for that offense as well. And Grayson, since being recalled by the Orioles, has actually pitched really well. But always worried about facing Toronto. They just got Bo Bichette back here, so I'm going to skip this challenge and see what they can bring us next for a matchup here. This one, they're giving us Yandy Diaz going up against the Colorado Rockies and Christian Yelich going up against the Minnesota Twins. Minnesota Twins throwing out Bailey Ober, who has been dreadful now for more than a month. So I'm actually going to rock Christian Yelich in this matchup here. Ober really struggling against lefties. He's walking a lot of guys, and Yelich, after being down, and basically many people thinking his career was on the decline, having a huge bounce back year this year in both power and speed. So I can see Yelich leading off for the Brewers tonight, getting it done against Yandy Diaz. So we'll just lock in this play with the Yelich scoring more fantasy points tonight than Yandy Diaz. You continue to play on these other matchups if you wanted to. Ty Walker gets the Giants and Smiley against the Tigers. Again, not a matchup I'm looking to decide which pitcher will suck more. So I'm going to move on from that one. Luzardo's got a really tough matchup against the Padres. You saw them hang a whole bunch of runs last night on David Weathers, Ryan Weathers rather, of the Marlins. And still, Walker against the Giants isn't really a matchup I'm looking to target. We'll skip that one. Oviedo versus the Cardinals. Nope, not going to go there. Walker against the Giants, still going to miss that one.
It wants you to start Walker somewhere.
It wants me to. I'm not going to go there. I'll go Zach Little, though. We'll go Zach Little against the Rockies. Rockies have one of the worst offenses in baseball, especially when they're outside of Coors Field here. So you get Little at home for the Rays against the Rockies. And no Syndergaard. I am betting the over on anything I can for the Dodgers tonight. Going up against Noah Syndergaard. He's been terrible. We know the Dodgers offense rake, so we'll go Zach Little here as well. Close out our challenges picks for today.
John, I got to ask you, is this do they give you points for wins or quality starts? Like, what's the points for that?
Yeah, so we'll break down the scoring. Let's see, let's give us the scoring for everybody. This might give his recent. You're asking me a question I wasn't prepared for, Coop.
Sorry, dude. I went off script on that. I was just wondering because
I'm not sure how, but I am sure that the wins and quality starts are counted towards points.
Okay, cool. Because I mean, it makes a little bit of a difference.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, obviously, you lose points for earned runs, you gain points for strikeouts. But I'm not sure.
I got it right here.
Okay.
You get 4 points for a win, 2.5 for a complete game. 2.5, another 2.5 for a complete game shutout, 5 points for no hitter. So
there you go.
Not quality starts, it's a wins based.
The wins work. That works.
Got to get that win, baby. Yeah, like Al Davis just
They
win,
should.
baby.
They should. The Rays should win for Little today, and I would expect to lock those down.
Yeah, I was surprised to see Drew Smiley. I was like, oh boy, he was pitching when I was playing fantasy baseball.
Yeah, his ERA is like over 5 this year. They're still kind of throwing him out there. So I would look for him to have some struggles today in their start for sure.
Yeah, Taijuan Walker, he's been kind of around for forever, just on the verge of doing something. In recent years, he stepped it up though, right?
Yeah, he's having like an average year this year. His ERA sits around 4, and the Giants are a team that ranked towards the bottom of the league in offense against right-handed pitching, but they do have guys that can kind of do damage. Thairo Estrada just came back for them. They have Michael Conforto. Wilmer Flores is having a breakout season for the Giants. So they just have guys in that lineup that it's hard to consistently go against. So Walker to me just felt like a little risky today.
That's fair.
All right. Thank you very much. That was today's edition of A Bettor Morning. Thank you, John, for that challenges play there. Good luck with your wins.
Thanks.
Thank you to Corey, John, and Coop.
Shout out people
After I just said that.
Unreal.
I know. Shout out to Britt. Make sure you
out,
check out Lightning Round Fantasy Football with Kevin Tompkins, Britt Flynn, and Coop. And if you missed any of our shows, you can find them all on our YouTube channel and at bettersports.com. We wish everyone a better day. Take care.